goth juice, the most powerful hairspray known to man.
Britcoms are a source of endless entertainment. Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're going to be counting down our picks for the top 20 greatest British comedy shows of all time.
Listen, sweetheart, I've not got time to shoot the shit, so why don't you and your new boyfriend carry some chicken out to my office when it comes, if it ever comes.
Hey, are you alright?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the funniest sitcoms and sketch shows that have aired in the UK.
I'm getting out of here. Don't you try and stop me. Ah!
Number 20, Absolutely Fabulous.
Shall we light up?
Jennifer Saunders and Joanna Lumley star as Eddie and Patsy, two neurotic and dysfunctional women who happen to be big deals in fashion and media. Based on a French and Saunders sketch, its original run only lasted for 3 series in the early 90s. But it was so enduringly popular that it's been revived numerous times since then, for a total of 5 series, multiple specials, and finally, in 2016, a feature film. It took over 20 years for Jennifer Saunders to decide to finally put Eddie and Patsy to bed, because that's how long it took to run out of material. Subsequently, Ab Fab is comedy gold all the way through.
What do you see when you look in the mirror, darling? Me looking fabulous. What do you see?
Number 19, Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister.
Do you mean Rigged?
No. Well, yes.
Throughout the 1980s, the career of fictional politician Jim Hacker was closely followed, as he became a cabinet minister and later the PM. In typical BBC fashion, Hacker's political alignment is never established, but since he rarely gets any policies put in place, this doesn't matter.
Do you know what the civil service is saying about you? No? That you're a pleasure to work with. Oh. That's what Barbara Woodhouse says about her prize-winning spaniels.
Hacker's attempts to represent the public are constantly thwarted by the cabinet's old guard. The recipient of numerous BAFTAs, both Yes Minister and its sequel series have remained popular for decades, spawning international remakes and a stage play that ran on the West End. It was even an inspiration for the next entry on our list.
Still, if I could pull it off, it would be a feather in my cap.
If you pulled it off, Minister, it wouldn't be in your cap anymore.
Number 18, The Thick of It. A scathing look inside the inner workings of Whitehall, Armando Iannucci's most biting satire has certainly stood the test of time.
The best way to cure a paper jam?
I don't know. Kill a kid an hour until it sorts itself out.
The Thick of It follows a group of hapless politicians and their aides as they try to avoid crossing both the public they're meant to represent and Chief Whip Malcolm Tucker. The only sane man surrounded by idiots, Tucker is easily one of Peter Capaldi's most iconic roles.
Smile, be gay. Smile, smile, smile.
Painstaking effort was taken to make the language as colourful as possible, with Ian Martin serving as the show's dedicated swearing consultant to come up with all those memorable insults. Number 17, Black Books.
What's that? What? What are you eating? It's some sort of delicious biscuit.
It's a coaster.
Despite owning and managing a bookstore, Bernard Black absolutely despises customers trying to pry him and his precious books apart. Dylan Moran leads with Bill Bailey and Tamsin Gregg as his friends and co-workers, who have more interest in running the shop than Bernard does, as he berates everyone who walks through the doors.
Don't look.
I reckon he's got a shooter.
He's 100 years old.
With an all-star cast like that, they couldn't go wrong. The bookshop itself often takes a sideline to the misadventures of the characters, who, among other things, end up house-sitting, partying, and drinking and smoking as much as physically possible. Number 16, Allo Allo. Set during the Axis occupation of France during the Second World War, cafe owner René Artois struggles to keep his business afloat while dealing with the French resistance, the Gestapo, British airmen lost behind enemy lines, and the fact he can't stop himself from sleeping with his waitresses.
But of course I shall sing for him. It is only expected.
Well, that should convince the village that we have at least got some fight left.
Rare for a sitcom at this time, LOLO had many overarching plot lines that lasted its entire duration. The stakes are as high as the chaos, and the risk of covering such a tumultuous era of history with a farcical sitcom paid off for seasoned writers Jeremy Lloyd and David Croft. With such a rich premise, it's no wonder over 80 episodes aired.
Listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. What is it you are going to say? I haven't said it yet. If you listen, I will tell you.
The suspense is killing me.
Number 15, The Inbetweeners.
Did you have to pin me up?
I just wanted to hear about your first day.
This foul-mouthed coming-of-age comedy was so successful, it led to not one, but two spin-off films, though neither fully live up to the quality of the original. Following four sixth formers as they try to increase their social standing and get girlfriends, it's the cringy, embarrassing moments that make Inbetweeners so popular.
Feisty one you are!
Whether it's Will's pogoing, Simon's unfortunate wardrobe malfunction, Neil contracting an STI from a woman who works in Asda, or Jay's non-stop lying, the show's best moments are the ones that make you desperate to look away. Though the less said about that 10-year reunion, the better.
She's probably just got an old face. Must be because of all the jizz she's had on it. I bet her body's still pretty fit.
Number 14, Gavin and Stacey.
Hiya!
How you getting on?
Though this sitcom begins by focusing on the long-distance relationship of Gavin, who lives in Essex, and Stacey, who lives in South Wales, it quickly opens up to look at all their friends and family members. The real central relationship is the will they won't they of Smithy and Netta, played by writer-creators James Corden and Ruth Jones, but the actual jokes come from the most ordinary sources.
Sorry, Stace, this is not meant for the delicate ears of a young lady like yourself.
Don't worry about it, I'm just the same.
It's this incredible ability to find comedy in the most normal things, like Stacey's brunch, a surprise birthday party, or the perils of ordering a takeaway in a big group of people, that make Gavin and Stacey so universally loved.
What's that, French? Your instincts serve you well, Peter, or should I say, Pierre?
Number 13, The Young Ones.
Do not lean out of the window. I wonder why.
Four mismatched and useless students share a grotty flat together under the thumb of a sleazy landlord, railing against Thatcher, the police, and the university they attend. Responsible for making punk alternative comedy part of the mainstream, The Young Ones had as much political expression and social critique as it did jokes, music, and violent slapstick. It's nigh untouchable where student comedies are concerned.
Why don't you like me?
Because you're a complete bastard.
All of its principal cast, particularly Edmondson and Mayle, became household names as a result of the show's success, and it remains just as biting and refreshing today as it was in the 80s.
Hello, Vivian.
Piss off!
Number 12, The IT Crowd.
What is it?
This, Jen, is the internet.
The IT department at megafirm Renham Industries is so dysfunctional it barely functions at all. Chronic slacker Roy and uber nerd Maurice are joined by a new manager Jen, who lies about her computer skills to get the job. The IT Crowd is just as adept at creating famous catchphrases as it is at far-fetched farces.
Right, Harry, did you see that ludicrous display last night?
From Jen's short-lived but unfortunately named boyfriend, Peter File, to Richmond's server room banishment, to Douglas's ineptitude after taking over the company, every episode produced something memorable. It was so good, it was even the recipient of a terrible American remake, which is how you know you've made it in British comedy. Number 11, I'm Alan Partridge.
Have you ever thought that suicide might be the answer?
Well, sometimes, aye.
Really? When?
Well, when I've seen you looking all depressed and that, you know.
Not me.
Steve Coogan is one of the UK's most recognisable comics, but he's never quite managed to get out from the shadow of Alan Partridge. Then again, why would he want to? Partridge is Coogan's most famous character, and we were given an in-depth look at Partridge's laughably pathetic life in this classic sitcom.
Go see my brother.
In no way, you big spastic, you're a mentalist!
After getting fired by the BBC for punching an executive in the face, Partridge struggles to get his career back on track, and ends up presenting a show on Norwich's local radio and living in a caravan. It's a credit to Coogan and the other two writers, Armando Iannucci and Peter Braham, that Alan is such a joy to hate.
Needless to say, I had the last laugh.
Number 10, The Vicar of Dibley. Dawn French stars in her most famous role as Geraldine Granger, the first female vicar in a small rural English village. The partnership of French as the lead, and famed writer-director Richard Curtis, of giant hits like Love Actually, proved to be just what TV needed. It's a warm-hearted look at Middle England, and for all Geraldine's flaws and the village's initial distrust of a female vicar, she cares deeply about the community and her parishioners.
Nothing could be hotter, nothing could be slicker. Lock up your son and daughter, 'cause here comes the vicar!
And after a long series of specials, Geraldine returned to screens for the comic relief Children in Need Big Night In to raise money for charity in 2020.
Well, my mother did always tell me never say no to a priest.
I love your mother.
Number 9, Keeping Up Appearances.
Richard, eject this man.
Hyacinth Bucket, or Bouquet if you like, is obsessed with class and spends all her time acting like she's better than her friends, family, and neighbours. It's this snobbish attitude, contrasted with her humble surroundings, that makes such fertile ground for comedy, as Hyacinth struggles to keep her northern working-class family hidden from the aristocrats she's desperate to impress.
Richard, you know I love my family, but that's no reason why I should have to acknowledge them in broad daylight.
Some of her trademarks include boasting about her fine china and fielding wrong number callers who believe her house is a takeaway. Unlike many other sitcoms, Keeping Up Appearances inspired a prequel rather than a sequel, where we got a closer look at what inspired Hyacinth to become such an unbearable social climber.
Why is he tying me up? Why is this child tying me up?
Number 8, Peep Show.
I'm not really here, it's research. I'm Louis Theroux.
Channel 4's longest-running scripted comedy was consistently on the air for over a decade, and all the while kept a tight focus on mismatched flatmates Mark and Jez. Mark's an ambitious, ill-adjusted loans manager, while Jez is a failing musician, and we watch the ups and downs, though it's mostly the downs, of their lives.
He's brought a dead dog into my pitch, the stupid bastard!
Peep Show's charm is the excruciating second-hand embarrassment the viewers are put through, whether it's Mark trying to seduce Sophie by doodling a swastika, or Jeremy relieving himself onto innocent wedding-goers. Few shows run for this long, and even fewer are consistently hilarious from the first moment to the last.
I mean, what am I going to do? What's going to happen here? Because, personally, I have no idea.
I really need to get to a urinal, Mark.
Number 7, Spaced.
Hi, we're...
A couple.
Tim and Daisy meet by chance and cook up a ruse where they pretend to be a couple to get a lease on a decent flat in London. Written by its stars Simon Pegg and Jessica Hines, not to mention being directed by Edgar Wright, Spaced was the progenitor of the highly successful Cornetto trilogy. Alongside Pegg and Hines are comedy veterans Nick Frost and Mark Heap, who all come to occupy the same building while getting into increasingly surreal shenanigans. Brimming with colourful characters and geeky references, Spaced is great not only because it stands on its own merits, but because it launched so many incredible careers.
Mike, I really am not in the mood.
Oh, shit!
Number 6, Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Yorkshire pudding.
This surreal sketch show was made by the country's most famous and successful comedy troupe, the so-called Beatles of comedy. The show's individual sketches have become mainstays of British pop culture. You'll struggle to find someone who doesn't understand references like the dead parrot, the Hungarian phrasebook, and wink wink nudge nudge.
Oh yes, the Norwegian blue, what's wrong with it?
I'll tell you what's wrong with it. It's dead, that's what's wrong with it.
The Pythons went on to make numerous feature films, including And Now for Something Completely Different, that collected and remade the show's best sketches. Equally memorable were moments from The Holy Grail and Life of Brian, cementing the Pythons as some of the best comics to ever work.
Arrange them nicely in the vase! Oh, get in! Get in! Get in!
Number 5, The Office.
Probably write a song about this one day.
You might not think the humdrum lives of office workers at a paper company in Slough would be very interesting or funny, but you'd be wrong. Though it ran for just 2 series, The Office isn't just one of the greatest British sitcoms, it's one of the most influential TV shows to ever air.
You wanker.
Come on.
Written by comedy legends Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, Gervais's David Brent has since become a force of nature, and in 2016 even helmed his own feature film. But nothing compares to the magic of the original, which occupies a well-deserved place in sitcom history. Number 4, Red Dwarf.
He's a smeg. He's a smeg. Hey.
Vending machine repairman Dave Lister is locked into stasis aboard the mining ship Red Dwarf for smuggling a cat on board, but ends up trapped for millions of years due to a catastrophe that kills the entire crew except for him.
Humans? The Vindelian people despise all humans. They are the vermin of the universe. Is that not right, Bindi Badgie?
The rest of the show follows Lister, the humanoid cat, maddening hologram Rimmer, helpful android Crichton, and the senile AI of Red Dwarf. Though it was originally thought a sci-fi sitcom like this would never take off, the BBC were proven wrong. Red Dwarf hasn't been off screen since the 80s, with constant reruns, a back-to-earth special, and a revived series with updated special effects beginning on Dave in 2012.
He's Arnold, Rimmer. Without him, life would be much grimmer.
Number 3, Blackadder.
He may reward us.
No, wait. I think I have an idea.
Written by Richard Curtis and Ben Elton, this historical romp took us through several formative periods in British history as we followed the schemes of Edmund Blackadder. Going down in stature with every passing generation, Blackadder begins as a duke in line for the throne and ends as a captain in the trenches of World War I.
You are a girl, and you're a girl with as much talent for disguise as a giraffe in dark glasses trying to get into a polar bears-only golf club.
Along the way, he and Baldric are joined by numerous historical figures, including Elizabeth I, the Duke of Wellington, and George IV. Blackadder's cunning plans to increase his social standing or escape from the war are legendary, and rumours that a 5th full series might one day enter production have been raging for years.
Ah! You have a woman's hand, my lord.
Number 2, Only Fools and Horses.
Don't want to laugh for the rest of my life.
Well, as long as you're happy, son.
Wheeler Dealer brothers Del Boy and Rodney Trotter live in a London council flat in this comedy centred on the working classes in Thatcher's Britain. Every week, Del Boy has a new plan to make them both rich, promising they'll be millionaires one day. No matter how immoral Del's plans are, or how frequently they fail, it's impossible not to root for him and Rodney.
You pelonka!
But it's not just about get-rich-quick schemes. It's also got a heart and eventually evolves to be about Rodney and Del's wives and their growing families. It's such a staple of British pop culture that they even paid homage to it at the 2012 Olympics. Number 1, Fawlty Towers. If you've ever wondered why most British comedies only run for a few series before finishing, Fawlty Towers is the reason.
There is too much butter on those trays.
No, senor. What? Not on those trays. No, sir. Uno, dos, tres.
With only 12 episodes and no specials whatsoever, Fawlty Towers changed the face of British comedy when it aired in the 70s. Following the exploits of hapless hotelier Basil Fawlty and his ailing establishment in Torquay, every single episode, each of which took weeks to write, produced enduring jokes and moments that we've yet to forget nearly 50 years later.
Manuel! I mean, look, how could it be so difficult to get a cheese salad? You want to run the place? No, I just want a cheese... shut up then! I beg your pardon.
Its short run and unbeatable legacy have been cited by the creators of many other comedies, including The Office and The Young Ones, as the reason they ended so quickly. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.